Mr. Aghi, thank you much for joining us. What's your sense? Before the 27th August deadline kicks in, is there any window of opportunity to set it aside?
We are working at it. I think it's important that these secondary tariffs do not come in because it does have an impact on India's exports to the US. It impacts millions of workers in India itself, especially in garment and other industries itself. So it's important that we basically maintain the dialogue open with the White House to ensure the secondary tariffs get postponed while we have a runway to discuss a better trade relationship between the United States and India.
Mr. Aghi, what do you think would work at this stage with the White House?
Well, you have to understand you don't have a normal policy process here. Most of the stuff is being implemented by the president. So it is important that we have a call between the president and the prime minister to basically sort out the misunderstanding. You have to understand that it's not just India, it's Europe, it's China, and United States. They're all buying energy and goods from Russia. So why penalize India from that perspective? So it is important that there is a call which needs to take place to basically sort out whatever the misunderstanding is. So at least the normal relationship, the positive relationship between the two countries continues. I have to say one thing. While the White House is basically talking about the stress point between the two countries, when you come down to the administration, you come down to the business community, you come down to the people itself, we see things, nothing changing. The importance of India is still very important in every aspect, from trade, energy, and geopolitical. So that understanding continues all across the United States.
Absolutely. What do you think in the short term will be the impact on India-US relations, especially business economic ties, if those 50% tariffs were to kick in? Will this practically mean that there will be absolutely no export from India to the US of those goods which are not in the exempted category? And this is almost $41 to $42 billion worth of exports from India.
Well, it does have an impact. Let's be honest with each other. So when you put 50% of tariff, the consumer is not going to pay that kind of a price. Importer is going to go look for other destination to import itself. So India will get impacted. But you also have to understand that US is not just the only market for India. I think India will have to de-risk that and look at other alternative destination. It does take time. There'll be disruption, but this is not the end of the world. You have to understand that the demand for Indian goods will continue, regardless if it's US or Asia Pacific or Europe. It's just a matter of time recalibrating, readjusting, and moving on.
Right. Is this just about Russian oil and gas?
No, I don't think it's just about Russian oil and gas. I think it's more than that. You have to understand that the Russian oil is an issue which has been brought in forefront. It is also about the president's desire to win a Nobel Prize and India's position that he did not basically intervene in India and Pakistan's war, which took place for 4 days itself. And I would have advised to government of India is, yes, you don't want third-party intervention, but it would have been much more wiser to basically reach out to the president and the media and say, thank you very much, Mr. President, for basically reaching out to Pakistan, bringing some sense into them. And so you're able to help on the ceasefire itself. So I think you have to sometimes recalibrate the approaches as time changes. If you take your old position and keep on reiterating, that it does not go well. And I think President felt slighted that he's been called a liar in this area. And I think that's where the whole thing started and has moved into the Russian oil, other aspect. I don't think it's too late. I think a call from the prime minister will help smooth out things, because I think the interest between the two countries are very, very large and very, very deep also, both from a geopolitical perspective, from an economic perspective, from students' perspective. And we have 5.5 million Indian Americans here. So I think it is important that we don't let this relationship go in a direction that it makes it more and more challenging as time goes by to repair it. I don't think much damage has been done. I think a lot of rhetoric has been going on in the media, and we need to bring that down also to ensure that at least the interest of India is protected. Also, is the interest of the United States also protected?
A lot can happen in 48 hours and nothing may happen as well. But if you were asked, as someone who leads one of the top US-India industry bodies, what could work things in India's favor? What kind of action could put this 25% additional penalty aside?
Well, I think we have basically reached out to the president and asked him to at least delay the implementation. We need a runway to find a solution between the two countries itself. And it's important that to understand that, yes, the secondary tariff are unjust and they shouldn't be put in. But we can't just keep on going on the media and keep on calling it just. Let's keep on working and finding a solution. So I think by postponing this by 90 days or 120 days, it's like US has done with China, it will give us a runway to sort things out. But more important is I think a call between the Prime Minister and the President can untie the knot which we have got ourselves into it, so at least both countries can work in a positive manner.
Right. At this juncture, the sense that you get as somebody who's closely in touch with the White House, with the Indian government, does that 50% tariff seem certain?
Well, there's nothing certain in Washington, D.C. nowadays, because what happens is it is decided by one person. 27th morning, he can take a call and say, listen, we will basically delay it further. But you can't build relationship with nations on a basically a uncertain manner, trying to say tariffs are on, not on. I think you also have to respect India as a nation, as a sovereign country, as a proud country, that you can't treat them in a manner that you're dealing with the smaller countries. India is a larger power, and it kind of aligns its interests with the United States in every aspect. So it is important. And you have to understand, when you go to the congressional here, they're very sympathetic to India. You talk to the business leadership, they're very sympathetic to India. When you basically look at the media for the first time, Washington Post, New York Times, they are writing articles which are very, very supportive of India's position itself. So the sentiment all across is positively supporting India, but we just need to basically untangle this knot and deal with the president. And I think that's where the Prime Minister can take a lead and untie this knot.
All right. So we can untie this knot by possibly acknowledging US's role in the ceasefire during Operation Sindoor as well. But do you feel that next few months are going to be challenging? If these tariffs were to come into effect, then all new investments in India will be on hold?
No, I don't think so. You have to understand, I've talked to almost 70 plus global CEOs last 2 weeks. Their interest and investment is not abating in India. They feel India provides them competitive positioning. It provides them efficiency. It provides them market access. So I think from a corporate America perspective, things continues the way they want to. And I think more important is the supply chain. The de-risking from China also continues. That's a consistent message I've got from every corporate leader in America I've talked to. And that is, yes, India is vital to our economic interest. India is very vital for our global supply chain. So I think their investment, their commitment to India continues from that perspective. More important is when you look at moving forward, I think we need to create a certain environment, and the initiative lies with the White House to decide. And yes, if you put 50% tariff, it will disrupt quite a bit of the environment, especially on the exports from India. And I think that's not right for the Indian exporters who have been building this relationship for the last 10, 15 years itself. So we are working to see where we can find the appropriate ground to have a constructive dialogue and find a win-win solution for both countries.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Aghi, for joining us on the program on Global Lens.